What's up, everyone? If you're a fan of the Washington Commanders, then stay tuned because today I've got some news that could change the game for our team. Have you ever imagined finding your future starting left tackle in the third round of the draft? Well, our general manager Adam Peters might have just done that. In this video, we're going to talk about the selection of Brandon Coleman, a rookie who's been making waves in training camp. Stick around until the end because not only will you get all the details, but you'll also see why this guy could be the missing piece for our offensive line to become a real fortress. And before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because you don't want to miss any updates on the Commanders, do you? Now, let's get straight to the point. In the third round of this year's NFL draft, with the 67th overall pick, the Commanders selected Brandon Coleman, a player from TCU who, at first, many analysts saw as a potential guard or maybe a swing tackle. But it seems like expectations are being exceeded, and by a long shot. At training camp, Coleman has impressed so much that all eyes are on him. And it's not just us fans who are excited about his performance. Former Commanders tight end Logan Paulson, known for his sharp analysis, recently shared his thoughts and gave a vote of confidence that's making fans dream big. Paulson was clear when talking about Coleman on the Chris Russell Show. He mentioned that when the player was drafted, he himself saw him more as a guard, but what he's seen so far in training camp has changed that perception. According to Paulson, Coleman has all the tools necessary to be a great player. Good length, quick feet, athletic ability, and impressive balance. And there's more. Paulson also added that although he'll wait for the preseason games and joint practices with the Jets to form a more definitive opinion, he's very excited about Coleman's progress and confidence so far. That's music to our ears, isn't it? But of course, potential alone isn't enough. The NFL is a place where only the best stand out, and the challenge for Coleman is just beginning. Standing at 6'6" and 320 pounds, he's already shown considerable strength in practices, especially when facing the opposing defense. It's this combination of size and skill that's making the coaching staff and team veterans take notice. Paulson emphasized that all the fundamental elements for a successful left tackle are present in Coleman, and that's extremely encouraging. Now, the big question is, when will all of this come together for him? And that's the million-dollar question. Will Brandon Coleman be ready by next week, or maybe by the first week of the regular season? That's still up in the air, but one thing is certain, what we're seeing so far is promising. If he can adapt quickly and show he's ready to take on the responsibility, the Commanders may have found in the third round a player who will change the team's dynamics for many years to come. And let's be honest, finding a franchise left tackle in such a late round of the draft would be nothing short of monumental for a team that's been struggling to find stability on the offensive line for so long. Looking to the future, it's hard not to feel that excitement growing. The pieces are starting to fall into place, and the arrival of Brandon Coleman could be the catalyst for our offensive line to finally reach the level of excellence we so desperately need. Expectations around the team are rising, and the guys in the trenches where games are really won or lost have the responsibility to deliver. The fans, of course, are doing their part, following every practice, every play, and rooting for this kid to become the pillar we need. So now tell me, do you think Brandon Coleman has what it takes to be our starting left tackle this season? Will he be able to absorb everything and establish himself as one of the pillars of our offensive line? Leave your opinions in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. And as we continue this analysis, it's important to remember that the confidence around Coleman isn't just coming from Paulson. Several coaches and players have been commenting on the potential he's shown, especially in high-pressure situations. The joint practices with the Jets will be crucial, as they'll put Coleman in an environment where he can test his skills against a team that doesn't know his moves as well. If he performs well, the chances of seeing him as a starter at the beginning of the season will only increase. What we're all hoping for is to see a player who not only fills a position, but brings new energy, new vigor to the Commanders' offensive line. The possibility of finding this player in the third round is something that really excites. But only time and, of course, the games will tell if Brandon Coleman will live up to all this hype. Now I want to hear from you fans. With all this behind-the-scenes movement, with the arrival of new talent, and the experience of coaches like Dan Quinn, what do you think? Will Michael Davis be able to reach that extra level he's striving for? Will he become the key piece that our defense so desperately needs? Leave your opinion in the comments, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates, and hit the notification bell. Let's follow every step of this rebuild together and hope that in the end we can celebrate great victories together. Stay tuned because the season promises to be exciting. Michael Davis is no slouch. He spent the last 7 years with the Los Angeles Chargers, where he showed he's got potential. And even as an undrafted free agent from BYU, he managed to establish himself in the NFL, which says a lot about the guy. Recently, he was asked why he chose to come to Washington, and his response was a true statement of confidence in our coaching staff. Davis mentioned that what attracted him the most was the opportunity to work with our defense, especially under the guidance of Coach Dan Quinn and coordinator Joe Witt Jr. You can tell he's determined to take his career to the next level, and that's exactly what we need. The arrival of Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. on our coaching staff has been a breath of hope for many fans. Quinn, in particular, is known for being a master at developing talented cornerbacks. Who can forget All-Pros Trevon Diggs and Darren Bland, who shone under his leadership? Michael Davis seems to have seen this as a golden opportunity. In his words, he stated that he believes these two coaches can help him reach a level he hasn't yet attained in his career. It's that kind of motivation that makes you think, are we about to witness the emergence of a new big name in our defense? I don't know about you, but I'm excited. Now, one detail that can't be overlooked. The Chargers let Michael Davis test free agency. What does that mean? Basically, that the team was willing to let him go. With the arrival of new coach Jim Harbaugh, they decided to part ways with some players, and Davis was one of them. But instead of seeing this as a setback, Davis seems to be using it as extra motivation. He's determined to prove his worth, and we, as Commanders fans, have everything to gain from that. It's that old story. One person's opportunity is another's good fortune. And in this case, the luck is on our side. Davis has shown an incredible mindset since he arrived. He's not just focused on adapting to the new team, but on evolving as a player. He said in an interview that every day is an opportunity to improve, to push even harder. That's music to our ears, right? Knowing that he's so focused on getting better, on constantly challenging himself, gives us hope that he can become one of the pillars of our defense. And with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. giving the directions, expectations are only rising. Who knows, with this spirit of overcoming, our secondary might just transform from one of the worst into one of the best in the league. One thing that caught the attention of many fans was Davis's statement about the importance of keeping a level head and controlling what can be controlled. He said that, deep down, he knows the only thing he can do is focus on himself and his own development. This shows maturity and a winner's mentality. And let's face it, that's exactly what we need on the team. A player who understands that pressure is part of the game, but doesn't let it affect his performance. In a season where everything is being rebuilt, this mentality could be the key to transforming the Commanders' destiny. And speaking of mentality, it's impossible not to draw a parallel with the team's situation as a whole. The Washington Commanders are undergoing a transformation, and that requires patience, hard work, and, of course, a long-term vision. We're bringing in new pieces, adjusting strategies, and trying to find the perfect balance. Michael Davis's arrival is just one part of this puzzle, but an important part. He brings with him a desire to win, to overcome adversity, that can serve as an example for the other players. And as fans, all we can do is keep supporting, believing that this rebuild will lead us to great achievements in the future. Now let's move on to the next news. Get ready for some news that's going to get you excited about the future of our team. I know. The last few years haven't been easy for us, but the rebuild is underway, and there's some good stuff on the horizon. Let's talk about a signing that promises to give that much-needed boost to our secondary. And yes, I'm talking about Michael Davis, the new cornerback who's coming in to make a difference. The Washington Commanders are going through a restructuring phase, and everyone knows that our secondary left a lot to be desired last season. After all, being the worst in the league is hard to swallow, right? But the good news is that the front office is paying attention and has already started making moves to improve our defensive performance. And one of the first steps was bringing in Michael Davis, a guy who's coming from the Chargers and has everything to stand out on our roster. I'll admit, when I saw the news, I got excited. Davis's signing shows that the team is focused on improving the defense, and he brings the experience needed to help fix the issues we faced last year.